Shock leaders are an important part of shore fishing, obviously for safety reasons. A 6-ounce lead breaking off, flying off in any direction on a crowded beach or pier, lethal. So what we need is a stronger length of line at the front of the reel just to take the shock of the casting. Bearing in mind, the thinner the line, the further it will cast. So if you're using 15-pound main line, 035, you're going to need a shock leader that's going to take strong enough not to snap when you've got a 6-ounce lead on. Now the general rule of thumb is £10 for every ounce of lead used. So if you're going to use a 6-ounce lead, you want £60 shock leader. Some of the power casters, pendulum casters, might go up another £10 for safety reasons. But in general, if you're power casting, you want a shock leader 10 by the ounce of lead you're using. If you're just an overhead thumper, you can get away with light line, 30, 40. The Continentals do it all the time, but you must not pendulum, so the chances are that the lead goes up the beach. It'll go straight out on an overhead thump. Leader knots themselves, obviously, it's a knot in the line, so it's rattling through the rod rings. It can damage your thumb on the reel too if it runs up. And some of the best ones, I mean the strongest one is this, it's the Bimini. It's the Bimini Twist. Now, the reason it's so big and so long is because the stress of the knot is over the length of the knot. If you watch it carefully, you may be able to see it stretch. Now this takes the stretch out of the knot, the stress out of the knot. If you can imagine, you've got two lines joined together like that, they're going to cut against each other, and that's just a plain and simple knot. So the Bimini Twist spreads the load. You've got to be careful, it's on the away from your thumb if you're using it on a multiplier, and it wants to be at the top of the spool of the fixed spool. Now, much simpler is the Uni Knot, which is probably the most universal Uni Knot. It's simple to tie. It's not as strong as the Bimini, but it will do the job. Now I'll demonstrate it. It's fairly simple. It's an overhead loop, a granny knot. That's all it starts. Start in the leader line. The light line goes through the granny like that, and then is twisted around the leader. 5 or 6 times is good enough. I then take mine back through the loop that I've made a couple of times. Say 3 times. Now when we pull it together, tease it together slowly. Don't just go because it'll burn. Mono burns when it's under stress. So we tease it, a little bit of saliva, and there we go. Trim off the ends. Make sure you don't trim the wrong end off. Now you'll notice with this one, the tag end, that is going to be facing away from the rings when you cast, which is why this is quite a smooth knot to tie. It'll go through the rings and there's nothing there to catch the rings. But it's a fairly strong knot, good enough to fish with, especially on clean ground. If you're going on the rough stuff, then the Bimini is the other alternative. Now, a lot of you will be using reels with level lines, and great big knots going through level lines drive you up the wall. And the answer to that, and a lot of people use them, I'll just chop that up, is to use a tapered leader. Now they're convenient because they've got the same diameter as your main line, so you've got 15 to 15 or 035 to 035. So all you need to do there is tie a simple blood knot, 5 turns. That's plenty. Again, a little bit of saliva. 5 turns on the other one. And that goes back through the middle of the loop. Now this one, again, tease it together, saliva, tease it together slowly. Now you can't really get a leader knot that is any smaller and neater than that. And because it's 15 to 15 or 18 to 18 or whatever you're using, the light line, it's quite strong. I must admit, I use these all the time. Lots for convenience, and they're quick to tie. But whatever you do, whatever reel you're using, once you start using leads over 4 ounces, you must use a shock leader. It's just dangerous to fish without one. Right, with shock leaders done, now we're going to do a bit of casting.